Well, what's going on, everybody? This is Shok, and of course, today I want to talk about the big news of Nintendo's new president and CEO being named, and this person is Tatsumi Kimishima. Let me get the picture up. This guy right here, this very unpleasant looking fellow, he is the new president of Nintendo of America, and just some short backstory. He's been in positions of management for things, for places such as, the Pokemon Company, and a couple of other related, Pokemon entities and stuff like that. But most importantly, he was also actually the president of Nintendo of America back in 2002 till 2006 when Reggie had taken over. So this guy was actually president of Nintendo of America, and he actually did live in America for a few years. I know he lived in New York and LA based off what I read. So of course that doesn't mean that he's going to be completely in sync with Western, sensibilities, and stuff like that. But it will probably give him a little edge when it comes to, understanding the Western market and things of that nature. But this guy is, how old is he? He is 65 years old. Yeah, 65 years old. He's pretty old, but he's also pretty experienced when it comes to, again, business management, because he is a very, very, very business-heavy individual. Unlike Iwata and Miyamoto, who were game developers and whatnot, this guy really wasn't on the whole game development side of things, at least not directly. He more, managed games rather than created them, himself. But he's taken part in, getting some Pokemon games over to, the West and stuff like that, localization, things of that nature. But for the most part, he is a very, very business-oriented individual. You could probably tell by, the look on this guy's face. I mean, just look at him. Which is funny, because last night when this news came out, right, I actually saw a lot of Nintendo fans talking about, like, oh my god, look at this guy's face. Look how unpleasant he looks, right? Like, Nintendo is doomed. Like, you guys are really going to judge how well someone could run a company based off of their mean mug? Look, I don't smile for pictures either, man. I'm sure this guy's the same way. Based off what some people who worked with him said, he's actually a very soft-spoken and kind-hearted individual. His face just doesn't look like it. I guess he doesn't smile a lot. Him looking unpleasant has nothing to do with his bearing on the company. Chill, guys. That's the most preemptive dumb thing you could possibly say. Oh, look how this guy looks. I don't trust him. I don't believe in him. Like, chill. Chill. But there's been some interesting tidbits regarding Kimishima. It's going to take me a while to be able to say that without focusing on trying to say it. I'll call him Tatsumi for the most part for this video. His first name, President Tatsumi. He gave an interview with Nikkei. I believe that's how it's pronounced. It's a Japanese publication, and he gave a few details about himself as well as where the company is going. Nothing huge, nothing major, but some interesting things. One of the things he says is that Nintendo is trying to create a future-proof leadership system in the future, and he didn't really go into specifics, but I imagine that means that they're going to try to get, I think what that means is they're going to try to spread around the power a little bit more, not try to necessarily have one or two or even three people, holding all the power. So if something happens to that individual, all of a sudden there's a problem. You see what I mean? When it comes to the power and decision making, decision making of the company. So it's gonna be interesting what exactly he means by that, but that's what I interpret from that. Another thing he had stated was that they are going to do a massive restructure for the company. Now, the stuff that Iwata was already putting in motion with the handheld and the console divisions, merging together and stuff like that. All that stuff is still going to happen, but he's going to add in a couple of rearrangements himself. Again, didn't really get too specific with that, but he mentioned it, so it'll be interesting to see exactly what he means. That's how it always is with Nintendo. They'll say something, it's like, man, that can mean so many things, right? And they usually don't get very specific. That's just how they are. But they did establish a new branch called the Business Development Division. Very business-oriented individual, like I said. And it says the new division will be responsible for refining the business model for the dedicated video game system business. Again, if something but it doesn't really tell us what exactly that means, you know. Refining the business model for the dedicated video game system business. Now, this could mean that he doesn't actually like the way that Nintendo was running their past few iterations of hardware. And the reason why I'm saying this is because in the same interview with Nikkei, he also said that he had warned Nintendo about the Wii U and he did not want Nintendo to release the system in the state that it was. So, according to Nikkei, Kimishima, skip that's parentheses, warned other Nintendo executives the Wii U would fail, claiming that it was too similar to the Wii, unquote. So that right there, along with the fact that he's lived in the West for a couple of years, the fact that he called the Wii U's failure before it even came out, really, 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 like, makes me have some hope, you know, for this guy. This guy obviously knew exactly what he was talking about. But apparently the other Nintendo executives didn't want to listen to him, and now we're sitting here in 2015, and we all know the Wii U's, you know, current situation, right? Let's not kid ourselves or anything. The system has performed just horrendously bad. It's gonna sell less than the GameCube at the end of its life cycle, which is an incredible feat. Like, holy crap, I never thought we'd get another system that will actually sell less than the GameCube, but the Wii U's here. But yeah, I think this guy doesn't like, you know, what Nintendo's been doing with the hardware. So this could actually mean that we'll get more capable, powerful hardware in the future that third parties will actually be able to support. And of course, I know the actual strength of the system isn't the only factor that goes in with, you know, how much third party support the Wii U has gotten. I know all that, guys, but it is a huge part of it, probably 50% itself, you know. So I would say it's probably the biggest part as to why the Wii U doesn't get the third party games that it does. And also, I love how in this article as well, it also reiterates that Miyamoto was in charge of the development for the Wii U hardware. So if you guys remember a couple months ago in the news where Miyamoto had said he's stepping away from the NX hardware, that was great news. That was the best NX news that we've gotten so far. The fact that Miyamoto is staying away, because he did the Wii U hardware, and the Wii U hardware isn't bad. It's actually well designed, not in terms of power, but as powerful as it is with the low power draw and whatnot, it's actually a pretty well designed system, stuff like that. Only problem is that we don't care. We do not care about the power draw of our game consoles, right? if we were going to choose like stronger specs, which would mean better looking, better running, bigger games, or lower power draw, I'm pretty sure we would choose stronger hardware. I would not mind paying an extra $50 one time, because you only buy a console once, right? Unless yours, you know, breaks or something, but, you know, generally speaking. So I'm pretty sure we wouldn't mind spending an extra $50 for stronger hardware that's going to make our games look and run better, and also get more third-party support versus power draw. I do not care about power draw. But yeah, Miyamoto also was in charge of the 3DS hardware, and he's actually the reason why the 3DS did not launch with a second circle pad. Yeah, that's actually a real thing. Miyamoto decided against it, and that's why we had the Circle Pad Pro, and that's why we had to wait for the new 3DS to actually get a real second stick. So yeah, this guy looks like he's really against the way Nintendo's been handling, you know, the hardware side of things when it comes to their video games and stuff like that. So it's gonna be really interesting to see, you know, where this guy is going. I'm not getting my hopes up too high, but he seems like the most different individual we've seen from Nintendo so far, right? He seems like the biggest deviator we've come across. Because a lot of guys, you know, over at Nintendo, whatever, you know, they kind of have the same mindset. You know, they're kind of one and the same. They all follow the same philosophies and stuff, you know, set by Yamauchi and whatnot. But this guy, he seems to have his own separate thought process, which is actually really, really great. Also, Aonuma. Aonuma is really cool. He's a really cool dude. For those who don't know, that's the Zelda director. I love that guy too. He says a lot of like new, refreshing things. I'm just like, oh my god, I wish everyone else up at Nintendo thought the way this man does. But I'm getting into completely other things. See, I mentioned the business development division. He talked about how the Wii U was going to fail before they had released it. The Futureproof Leadership system. Oh, another interesting tidbit is that he's actually going to be the president for just 1 year. Now, I read this article. I'm going to skim through it again real fast to make sure I'm not missing anything. But it didn't really say anything about this being a temporary position or a permanent position. It could be either or based off what I'm reading. It could be he's going to be the president for 1 year, and if they decide to keep him, you know, they'll do it. Or it could be if he decides to stay there, he'll go ahead and do it. Or it could just be like, oh yeah, you're just going to be the president for a year until we find someone, even better, suited for the job, something like that. But the article really didn't specify. He did say that he's not changing Iwata's core plans, basic strategies. He used the word basic. So that doesn't mean that he's going to do everything Iwata did, just the basic stuff. He's going to keep, all the basic stuff that Iwata had, already set in motion. Stuff like the whole smartphone and IP related things. Those are specifically mentioned in this article. So, stuff like that he's going to keep, but he's going to definitely be implementing his own ideas from the sounds of things. Anything else I am missing here? I believe that's all the details he has given so far. Oh, one more thing. He also actually said that Nintendo, I can't remember if he said, I don't have it up here. I must have closed it out. I can't remember if he said Nintendo or he himself. But I'll go ahead and say Nintendo. I'm pretty sure it's Nintendo. He said that they're actually more open to, not more open, they're open, because I don't even believe they were open before at all. But they're actually open to having an outsider come in and take over Nintendo. Now, everybody's talking about all these different things and stuff like that. I think this is the most significant piece of news that has came out thus far, regarding this guy, regarding Kimishima. Because I don't believe under any other person would he have made, would this statement have been made, right? If Iwata was still in office, I don't think Iwata would ever say like, yo, we're open to having an outsider. An outsider being someone not from Nintendo, meaning someone not from Japan, right? They're open to having a Westerner or whoever come over as the CEO of Nintendo. Not talking about getting help from some other third-party company, now outsourcing stuff like, what they're doing with, DNA, stuff like that. Not, oh, we're in a partnership and they're going to help us do this and that and we're going to give them some delegation over this. No. He actually said that they are open to having an outsider come over and take over Nintendo. And that is absolutely huge. Because, I've said it before and I'll always say, Nintendo has been very, stubborn. They're very traditional. They believe in following a certain philosophy and pretty much only that philosophy, right? And, while Iwata isn't related to Yamauchi, blood-wise, he was kind of like Yamauchi's, apprentice or whatever. He entrusted the company to him. He was his figurative son, right? But this guy, Kimishima, over here, I was pointing the wrong way. He's not really related to them at all. Matter of fact, he specifically said that Iwata didn't leave him any kinds of specific instructions or whatever. I don't know if that means that they weren't close or nobody up there knew that this guy would be the most plausible candidate to take over Iwata's position. But regardless, it's definitely not the same, they didn't have the same relationship that Iwata had with Yamauchi, and things of that nature. This guy seems to be his own separate entity. You see what I mean? He doesn't really seem to have that much influence from the other Nintendo executives up there. And that's why I'm so interested in this guy, and I'm looking forward to what he's going to do, because he's not, boss of the walls out there. I can't say that because he hasn't said too much so far. But based off the little that he has said, he seems slightly more radical than the typical Nintendo executive. You know what I mean? Really interested and looking forward to what this guy is going to do. Right now, I'm cautiously optimistic about this and the NX and whatnot. Of course, I'm not like just, oh my God, this is it. The NX is saved. This is going to be great. I need to empty out my trash can. I'm not saying all that because, I get optimistic about Nintendo and Nintendo things a lot. And again, I just end up looking stupid. I end up getting slapped in the face. And then people get mad at me for being optimistic. But then when I get pessimistic, people get mad at me for being pessimistic. So it's like, what the hell do you want me to do? But anyways, I'm cautiously optimistic so far with this guy, with Tatsumi. Tatsumi Kimishima. I don't know, that's just so weird for me to say. But yeah, he seems like a really cool guy with his own ideas, and it looks like he has some plans that he's actually been thinking about for a short while now. So we'll see where things go. I'm definitely interested. So far, I do trust this guy, and I think you guys should too. I think someone a lot worse, trust me, could have taken over this company. But that's for this video, y'all. Leave me your thoughts down below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys later.